Good morning everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today, if you guys see Woden in the background, the massive fluffy giant German Shepherd, that's just the dog that I'm pet sitting, and he feels very strongly that we need to be playing today. Hey Woden, what? So he'll just be stalking around here to see if he gets an opportunity. But anyway, so today I'm going to be showing you guys most of the apartments that we looked at when we were apartment hunting. I say apartments, but you know, it was more garden flat type things. I really don't know what I'm supposed to call them. And I got videos of most of the places near the end and also a couple in the beginning. Either we just wouldn't film them because it just really wasn't an option once we got there, or I just didn't get the chance, or whatever happened, but I do have most of them here, I think. So I'm just going to go through them and then show you guys what we liked, what we didn't like, and all that stuff. So let's get into the video. Okay, so this first one was pretty close to campus. I think it was like 7 km from campus, but it was extremely far from Edwin's work. So we ended up looking, this was the very first one that we looked at. It was a couple of days into looking at places. So we were still sort of figuring out what we were looking for, and we ended up looking for something more in between them or closer to Edwin's work, because he has a pretty big bakkie that is really heavy on diesel. So it would just be a lot cheaper for me to drive far with my little student car than for him to drive far. So for that reason, this place probably wasn't an option, even though we didn't worry about it too much at this point because we hadn't actually sat down and done the calculations of how much it would cost. But it was pretty close to OP, so that was really nice for me. It seemed like a fairly quiet street. I was not 100% sure on how safe the area was. Another safety concern for me was that the gate was not motorized, which is just a risk if I'm coming home late from campus or at any time really, and I have to stop the car and get out and, you know, open the gate and the keys are still in the car, and, you know, it's just a bit of a risk. And then also you will see, like, all around the property, my friend Tristan was there with me. I always take people with me when I go view places. But all around the property there was just like open fencing, so you could see into the property, which was also a bit uncomfortable for me because then everyone can see who's home, who's not, what is there, you know, all of that. Also, there wasn't great parking for cars. There was like, he was going to redo that undercover parking, but there would still only be one and it still wasn't very safe. I love the fact that it was like a little rondable. I don't know what that is in English, but that was really cute to me. So the kitchen was pretty small, but you know, most of the places that we were looking at, everything was pretty small. It did have a single sink, which is not great, but you know, obviously we can deal with that. Not a lot of cupboard space, but you know, we weren't being really picky. We were really in a bit of a tight spot. There really wasn't a lot of living space. I mean, this was really the only living space that there was, and it was all a little bit run down. Like, they were going to redo a lot of it and like neaten it up and stuff, but it was still, you know, a bit, you know, run down and so on. Then this part was the bedroom, and you know, you had the closets here, which also wasn't a lot of closet space. And then the bathroom, pretty plain and simple. They were going to be fixing, they're like in the process of fixing the shower door and so on. So the big reason why we actually went to look at this place, and one of the big reasons why we liked it, was because of the price. It was well below our budget. Even our original lower budget that we were hoping to stay in. So it was for a really great price. And we also loved the idea of a place that's like on, you know, on a plot, and, you know, that just had some open space and some open land, and was just a little bit away from the city. That's really something that, you know, we liked. We weren't specifically looking for that because it was a bit unreasonable, especially for the area that we were looking to find something in, but it was a pro for it. So we considered it, not for extremely long because we did find better places very soon after it, but we did continue to consider it because of the amount of space for the dogs. It was really a massive yard. apart from security and the lack of space, it was actually a pretty good option. But yeah, we just went on, and pretty soon we found better options that, we would definitely prefer over that one. So the next one was actually exactly in the area that we were looking for. It was a nice garden flat. It had a pretty nice yard for the dogs. It wasn't massive, but big enough for the dogs, definitely, with some extra guest parking and so on. In there was actually a guest bathroom, like just the toilet. And so this was technically a 2 bedroom, but it didn't have a living area, so it just had the kitchen, the 2 bedrooms, and the bathroom, which was all also, pretty plain and simple. It was like just in our budget, so that was also pretty good. We actually very strongly considered this place for quite a time, but they did not want to keep it for us because we had to give 2 months notice at the previous place. And didn't want to keep this place for 2 months for us, and we couldn't pay double rent, so we had to find something that they would be willing to keep for us. But we really liked a lot of things about this place. We loved the storage space. There were 2 supposed bedrooms, each with their own closet, so that has a lot of extra storage space. The kitchen was nice and big, which we really liked. It did suck a bit that we didn't really have a like living room area. So it was a really nice place for some reasons, but it wasn't really a place that we would be able to have people over, which we do quite often do. Honestly, if the friends get together, it's usually at our place, so that was something that bothered me a bit. But honestly, there were no deal breakers at the place. The only thing really was that they weren't willing to keep it for us. We did offer to pay a deposit, but they still didn't want to. This was actually a really nice, really neat place. It was also in our budget, in the area that we were looking for. The yard was just extremely small. I mean, what you see here is basically the yard. We did like that it had this extra storage space outside for like the lawnmower and stuff, because a lot of places didn't have that. I loved the place. It was so pretty, so neat, so well done, and they were redoing it now again, even though it was in pretty good condition. So it basically was pretty perfect, except for the lack of space for the dogs. The kitchen is so beautiful, like, not gonna lie, I really love the kitchen. It did only have a single sink, but we could deal with that. It didn't have a massive space here for the living area, but it was definitely enough for us to make it work. And then the bedroom was also not massive, but still big enough for us to fit everything in that we needed. And then the closets I loved so much. For one, because it had so much space, and then also a lot of garden flats are sort of neglected and so on because the people in the main house don't really use it and they just rent it out occasionally. So I was really impressed by how well kept this place was. And then it also has a door out here that goes out to the front gate and to the parking there. So this was actually one that I really liked. I went to go see it with my mom, so Edwin didn't even get to see it. But they also did not want to keep it for us for another month. We only needed it to be kept for a month at that point, but they still didn't want to keep it for us because it was such a nice flat for a good price in a nice area. We knew that it would definitely not just sit around for a month. We suspected the previous one might, but this one would definitely not. But I did really like it. Then the next one, oh guys, let me just tell you first before I show you this one. This was probably the worst one that we went to go look at because of how perfect it was. The only issue was that it was 51 kilometers from campus. So that is just completely unreasonable for money, for time, for just everything about it. It just does not make sense to find a place that far. Edwin was really excited about it because it was, once again, it was just outside the city. It was on a plot with, a couple of other places. And so he was really excited about it and was like, no, we can make a plan. And I was like, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, even if we found a way to afford it, I am not gonna waste more than an hour every day. Well, no, then it would be well over an hour. But, on the road every day, it's just a lot of study time that I'll lose, and it's a lot of stress on the road, and I'm not going to do that. But then, so just before we went, he actually went and he made the calculations of how much petrol it would cost just for me to go to university, not even for him to get to work. And it was just completely unreasonable. So we knew that we couldn't do it, but I was like, let's just go see it. Let's get it out of your system. You obviously really want to see it. Let's just do it. And it was a bad idea. We really shouldn't have. It was pretty much our dream home for where we are right now. And yeah, so I'm just gonna start it and then I'll talk you guys through it. So it was obviously a bit messy because someone was still living there and they were packing up to leave. So yeah, so this was the yard, and that fence that I just showed, that could be taken down to enlarge the yard into the next field to make it even bigger for the dogs. It was this beautiful stone house, which I love stone houses. It's like my weakness. Then it had a really nice big kitchen, which we loved, with a gas stove and a double sink. Then it had not a very big living room area, but it was definitely big enough for us. Also, she had horse halters that was like hanging there on the back door, which I loved to have horse halters instead of dog harnesses. Then the bedroom was very nice and big. The bathroom, I loved the tiling here. Also, it was one of the only places that we saw that had a bathtub, and it also had a shower because we need a shower and a bathtub is a luxury, but it was still so nice that it had a bathtub. And then it had a walk-in closet, and the agent was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that it doesn't have a lot of storage space." And we were like, "This is more storage space than we've seen in any other place." I loved this woman's life, I just have to say, because she literally had everything that I dreamed of as a little girl. I mean, like I said, she had horse halters on her back door instead of dog harnesses. She had like horse soft toys on her bookshelf, and she had 2 bookshelves in her room, which is awesome to me. I love reading. So it's just like, it's like a room full of books and horse stuff. It's amazing. And she had converted the garage into a stable for her miniature horses, which is so cute. Also, there were horses all over the property. There are actually more videos that I have of the property. So that area, that fence right there, could be taken down to make the yard bigger, which we definitely would have done. And then it was just so cute, and like it had such rustic farm vibes that, oh, I loved it so much. And it was so quiet, you couldn't hear any cars. It was really just you and your little place. And yeah, so then there you can see there are lots of horses there on the property. So we were so torn about this. We were going to all the lengths that we could to try and find a way to make this work because we so badly wanted this place. But we knew that we would not be able to do it just because we liked it. It was just not feasible with the time and the money and everything. It was actually really funny because I knew that my mom would be the person to tell us, don't be stupid, this obviously wouldn't work. But when I showed it to her, she was like, "It's so perfect, you have to take it." And I was like, "You're supposed to be the reasonable one." I was so upset with her. I thought that she was going to be, the voice of reason in this difficult decision. And she was like, "Yeah, but can't you just, you're not sure that you're going back to campus next year? Can't you just stay there until you have to go back?" And I was like, "I really want to." But it was, so it was in our budget, which was also why we're like, it's in our budget, it's got everything perfect except distance. There's like one thing that's off about it. I mean, I'm sure we can make an exception for that. But unfortunately, the one thing that was off was a non-negotiable, so we had to let it go. We did very strongly consider just moving in there and hoping that campus wouldn't open, but I'm convinced that it's going to open, so we were like, we don't want to move and then move again 4 months later. It's just not worth the hassle. And we also wouldn't be able to settle in and just relax there because we would constantly be thinking about moving again. So yeah, it wasn't gonna happen, but that was still my favorite place by far. With some competition from the place that we got, obviously. Then we ended up, actually, the agent ended up going, "Hey, but I've got another place that's also in your budget that is in the area that you're looking at." And we were like, "Okay, yeah, great, go show us." So we came to look at this one, which honestly, it has a lot of pain with it, because we actually signed the contract for this one, and then the owner sort of like went behind our backs and moved someone else in while we were signing the contract. So that was very, very annoying. If you want more details, you can go and look at my moving story. I'll have all the details of all the places that we lost and there. But so this was right in our area. It was like a little bit over our budget. It was like 100 Rand over our budget. So we were like, you know what, we can make it work. And yeah, so it had this massive yard, which we absolutely loved for the dogs. Like we walked in and saw the yard and we were like, okay, we're keeping this. And it was so beautiful in the street. It was like a street lined by jacaranda trees, and it was just down the road from a dog-friendly park. Then I loved this extra gate because my car would obviously be parked inside, and then that extra gate is just a bit of extra security for us and the car, obviously. And then obviously because it had a very long driveway, then it was also a bit hidden from the street, so it was also extra safe. Then I loved the like glass front doors. It was just really, really small. That was the only thing with this, and that was actually why I really struggled to commit to this place originally. I loved the red cabinets. When I walked in, I hated it, but it grew on me so quickly. But yeah, it was really nice, also extremely neat, very well kept, very well done. And it could come fully furnished or partially furnished or unfurnished, whatever we wanted. So we were going to keep the couches just because I don't think our couch would have fit in there. And yeah, then the bathroom, it actually had a really big bathroom, like a lot of open space in the bathroom, which annoyed me because everything else in the house is... So yeah, we were really excited about this place. The biggest struggle would have been space, and especially storage space. So, you know, as I walk through, you can see the only storage space is a closet in the room, which is behind the door now. But yeah, that is it. The only space that you can put stuff away is in the kitchen and in that closet in the room. And obviously the closet is for clothes, the kitchen is for kitchen stuff. And we have a lot of extra stuff because we used to live in a 3-bedroom place. So that was a very difficult thing for me because I was not sure that we would be able to fit everything in there. But in the end, we just sort of went, you know what, it is literally perfect in every single way except for storage space. So we can make a plan with that. We can build a little area for us to store stuff in. We can have a Wendy house put in. We can make a plan, but everything else is perfect. The only other thing was that there wasn't a connection point for a washing machine, which is such a weird thing, and you don't really think to look for it because you sort of assume that all places have it. But when we actually, that evening, and we were going through it, and I was like, wait, I didn't see a connection for a washing machine. And there wasn't one, but the owners were willing to put one in. So that was also, you know, it sort of sorted out that problem. But then, you know, then they ended up picking someone who did not want to put a washing machine in, which is so annoying to me. But anyway, so we were going to live in that place, but we ended up not taking it. Then we went on. So this place was also closer to campus, but it was not very close to campus, and it was extremely far from Edwin's work. I mean, if Edwin's work is here and campus is here, then it was like here. So it would have been ridiculously far for him to go. So it was at this point that we started working out actually the petrol costs and the diesel costs and stuff. And also it was actually a really, really nice place, and it was pretty much perfect. It was a big 2-bedroom house with a nice yard for the dogs, and I just didn't like it. And it was actually difficult for me because I couldn't decide whether I didn't like the place or whether I just didn't like the people that were living there at that point. I mean, they were extremely nice, but like the house and like the stuff in it and the people themselves and everything was a little bit scruffy. So I was like, okay, but then does that mean that the house itself is scruffy, or does it just mean that the people living there are a bit scruffy? Like, nothing against them, they were extremely nice people, but you know, they were just a little bit scruffy. There's no other word that I could find for it. I really looked. Also, I didn't really have parking for the cars. We might have been able to get one undercover parking, but yeah, that is like your own little private yard. And then it was completely pet friendly, which was great. And then they said that we could probably arrange with the owner that we also use this space for the dogs, which is great. And then the washing machines would actually also have to be under that little roof there at the back, which was not ideal, but you know, also not a problem. Then again, I love the glass doors. It just lets in so much extra natural light. And then this was like a little entrance area, and then there's a dining area, which is, this house had so much space, it's ridiculous. Then down here is the living room, which is giant, and it has a fireplace. They just made it into an extra bedroom because they had guests recently. And then the kitchen was actually extremely neat, and it looked like it was recently renovated. So the cabinets and everything was extremely neat. I really loved the kitchen. Once again, single sink, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, and then the bathroom, I absolutely loved the bathtub. It was so nice, and it also had a shower, which is great because the shower was a non-negotiable for me, just because it takes forever and so much water to take a bath, and with this hair, you don't get it washed in a bath. And then this is the second bedroom. We couldn't look at the main bedroom because she had dogs that really disliked me. It was strange to me that it had a sink in there, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world to have a sink in the room. So the main bedroom was pretty massive. It was really nice and big. She just kept the dogs in there so that they wouldn't eat me. So yeah, I am in my pajamas if you can see my polka dot pajamas. But anyway, I'm full off the couch. I'm gonna sacrifice myself to show you my outfit. But anyway, so it was a beautiful 2-bedroom with a massive, you know, main bedroom, and it actually had so much extra space compared to any of the other places that we've looked at. I mean, it had an entrance area, a dining area, a living room, a kitchen, you know, it had everything so big and separated. And then it also had, you know, the 2 bedrooms. And it was, I can't remember, yeah, it was well in our budget. So, you know, I still don't know what I didn't like about it because there were so many pros to the place. I mean, really the only thing wrong with it was how far it was for Edwin. But you know, the bath was amazing. The fireplace was like, oh my gosh, guys, a fireplace. I mean, I didn't even dare to dream about having a fireplace. So the fireplace to me was so amazing. You know, the fact that it was 2-bedroom was great. The kitchen was beautifully done. I really don't know why I didn't like it, but I just did not feel right there. It didn't feel right. I didn't like it. I didn't like any part of it. I mean, I loved every part of it, but I didn't like any part of it. It's really weird, but it did not sit right with me. And it wasn't even that I felt uncomfortable or unsafe or anything. I just didn't like it. So we ended up not taking that place, and we ended up sort of justifying it for ourselves on the petrol cost, but honestly, the reason that we didn't take it was just because I did not like it. The next place was just down the road from the house that we were going to take with the red cabinets. It was literally a few houses down. So I was really excited about it because it had all the pros of the area. You know, it was literally down the road from friends of ours. It was close to most of our friends. It had the beautiful street just down the road from the park. It had all those pros. And then it was actually a lot bigger. So this place was actually a very, very old house. So, you know, it was one of those really old houses that it's so old you're not allowed to bulldoze it. So they took the one house and basically split it into 2 apartments. So I did tour both, but when we got back to, oh, and the garden was so beautiful and so nice and big for the dogs. But when we got back to like the agency's office, but I'll tell the story just now. Then it turned out that the one was already taken, but I'll show you guys both so that you can see what goes on. So to the left would be the one, and then to the right was this one. So this one had more of the original house. I think this was just a random room. Then this was also, it had a fireplace in the main bedroom. So this was the one that was taken, but I honestly preferred the other one, except for the fact that this one had a fireplace in the main bedroom. Like, how insane is that? I loved that. And then it was 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, each of those places. So I was like, wait, you said the rent was this much, right? And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, that doesn't seem right to me. I mean, have you seen places? This was a 2nd bedroom, but it was extremely dark. It had no windows to outside. There was one to like the hallway. Then the kitchens were both, you know, really big and beautiful. Here's a 2nd bathroom. So yeah, the kitchens for both were so nice, and both with gas stoves, and I believe they both had double sinks. I was so excited. I really loved this place so much, but it ended up because I went through such a mission to find out whether or not the place was pet friendly. I ended up going back to the agency with the guy to talk to them and to hear if they had any other places available. So this is the 2nd one, which was the one that was still available, that I loved more because of how beautifully lighted it is. Also, guys, the high ceilings, that is goals. I love the high ceilings in this place. So this was the main bedroom with its ensuite bathroom, which I love an ensuite bathroom if you have an extra bathroom. I hate having one bathroom and then having people having to come through the bedroom to get to the bathroom. But yeah, and then it had a lot of closet space, a lot of storage space all over the house. So it was really, really great. I really loved it. But it ended up to not be pet friendly, which I did suspect because you do share the property and the yard and everything with other people. I suspected that it probably would not be pet friendly unless the other people like the dogs, which, you can't really take that chance. This is the second bedroom that we probably would have used as an office. So I was really, really sad when we ended up losing this place because it was so nice. It was more than I could possibly dream of, with the 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, the massive yard. I was really disappointed when we lost it, and then it was in the great area, so, but it's fine. The pet friendly thing really became our biggest issue because a lot of places would say pet friendly and then you get there and they're like, oh, but like, a chihuahua. And I was like, yeah, no, we don't have a chihuahua. We have about 20 chihuahuas in one dog. So that was also a similar problem with the next place, which was we actually did consider this one seriously for a while. It was under our budget, but it was just a studio apartment. And it shared the property with, I think, 4 or 5 other apartments, or it was like with 3 other apartments and then the main house or something. But it was also, I called about it and the agent called back and I was like, listen, but we have 2 big dogs. I was like, we have 2 big dogs, which I feel like called as a medium, but I exaggerated because it annoys me when we get there and they're like, oh no, only small dogs. So I always go like, they're big, we should have space for big dogs. And I was like, okay, we have 2 big dogs. And he was like, oh no, he's sure that I'll be fine. And then we got there and he was like, well, it's not really pet friendly. I was like, okay, but then why are we here? But anyway, let me show you first and then I'll take you through the rest of that story. But it was really nice, really neat. I loved the aesthetic of this place and the bath was amazing. It did also have a shower head, but it was I feel like it would be really messy to shower in that with no curtain. But, that's like a minor thing. And, so it was really beautiful, really neatly done. The kitchen was also, not massive, not perfect, but, really nice. And then it's just, yeah, this is the whole apartment. So I did really like it because it was really beautiful. It was really nicely done. We did consider it for a bit as a, if we don't find anything else. Also, there was no storage space. Like, this is the closet and that's all that there is. But, we did consider it for, if we don't find anything, let's just move in here for a couple of months until we do find something else. But then, oh yeah, and it also had a balcony, which is so amazing and wasn't even an option with many other places because they were all on the ground floor. So then, we asked again, is it pet friendly? Is it not? Because he was sort of avoiding the question and, he could probably twist the owner's arm and stuff like that. It was honestly, this guy annoyed me a lot because for one, I called him somewhere during the day and he called me back at like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 in the evening, which, obviously I was still awake, but it's still unprofessional to me to call someone at that time. And he was also, he was actually one of the agents that suggested that we got rid of the dogs, so that we could live there. And we were just like, yeah, no, that's not happening. We're definitely not getting rid of the dogs. We actually had a few agents that suggested that to us, which really frustrated us because you know what? The same as what, a shower or like a toilet is non-negotiable, the pet-friendly thing was non-negotiable. It's not something that we can just figure out. We're not giving our dogs away, you don't. When you get a dog, you commit to taking care of that dog for the rest of your life, or for the rest of that dog's life. So no, we are not giving up the dogs. We really liked parts of the apartment. We liked it for a short-term solution. Then we went to this one, which it was in the area that we were looking for. It was well within our budget, but it had no garden. This that you see right at the start, this is the garden that there is. And then we would also have to park Edwin's bakkie there because only my car would fit in the parking space. Then inside it was also fairly small with like now that I look at it, no cupboard space in the kitchen. You would not be able to fit a whole kitchen in those cupboards. Then the bathroom was also, very plain and simple. Toilet, shower, and sink. That was, your usual stuff. So, and then it was actually pretty nice. We were like, we could probably make this work except for the basically no garden thing, and there was no grass there for the dogs. Also, I don't think her bed would have fit now that I'm looking at it. But I did like this little built-in desk here that is really convenient for me, and it did have enough closet space for our clothes at least. Um, but yeah, it was also a bit dingy. Like the previous guy was a smoker, so it had all the smells and stains that came with that. So that was also a bit of a turn off. It was just difficult to envision us living in the house in good conditions, and also there was mold in the shower and stuff, and like they were going to clean all of that up and basically, make everything neat again when that guy moved out. But it was still difficult to go like, oh, this place is so amazing when there are a lot of things wrong with it. And I was in such a bad frame of mind when we went to go and look at this one, because I was getting so discouraged because we were getting very close to our move out date. So we had 3 weeks left at this point. So I was getting really worried and discouraged. But yeah, so we were like, we could probably make that one work. Also because it had a park just a couple of houses down the street, literally. So we were like, maybe you can just take the dogs there twice a day, to get them to stretch their legs and stuff, because there is no garden there. The next house, yeah, that one comes with a lot of pain as well, because we were going to sign a contract for this. They just needed to draft it up, and then actually there was a whole, like, a mini legal battle between the owner and her sister, because the house was left to the owner, by her mother, but then the will had not gone through, so the sister felt that she was entitled to some part of the house. And I don't know the details about it. I don't know who's actually right, but there were all sorts of issues, and then the sister ended up getting a court order to have the owner evicted. So obviously that completely eliminated us as options to rent the place. But yeah, it was this beautiful, massive, really nice house, 2-bedroom house. Sorry, I just like completely lost my sentence somewhere in the middle there. That it used to belong to the owner's mother, but then when her mother passed away, she took it over, but she lived too far to actually live in that house, obviously, because she had a family and stuff. So she just wanted someone to take care of it. So she was giving it to us at a complete steal. I mean, she could ask so much more for it, but she just really wanted someone to take care of the house. So we were really excited about that, because we were getting a lot of extra stuff, on top of what we needed. So this was just the front of the house with a lot of parking space, which is great, and then more parking space here, and then there at the end is actually a 1-bedroom garden flat that we would also be able to use as we wanted. Then here at the end, after I annoy my Leafy, at the end through the glass doors, there's actually like a mini shop with a countertop and everything that she used to run a little shop out of. And she was also like, you can use it for whatever you want, a shop or anything else. Then this was the living room, which was massive. Also, this place also had high ceilings, which I loved. The house had recently been repainted grey, so I'm not sure how I felt about that, but she was like, you can paint and change things and, retile all you want. So she was really chilled. The kitchen was so beautiful and so big. It was actually so beautiful now that I'm looking at it again. It was so beautiful. And then there at the back that I just quickly showed was like, there was the stoop, the patio. It was built closed, but still, that is extra space. Then I didn't show the yard in this one, so it wasn't a massive yard, but I feel like because the house is also that so big and it has a yard in the front, it does add to the space that the dogs have. So, and she was also like, there was a bit of like paving and cement and stuff in the back that she was like, yeah, you can just take all of this out and put in grass, you can really do what you want as long as you take care of the house. So we were like, great. Then there were also 2 storage rooms. We were really loving this place so much because it pretty much had everything that the previous place that we were going to take, the red house, it had everything from that place and everything that it lacked. So it had so much space, it had extra storage space, it had an extra room. We were so excited about this place. It is actually unfair. But anyway, I digress. Let's go back. So here was a little extra room in the middle, and then here is the main bedroom. It needed some painting, especially on the ceiling. You can't see it now, but also the ceilings are so beautiful. But yeah, the room is massive with these big built-in closets with a lot of space. Then this area we thought we would make into our little office space, and that whiteboard was just so nice to me. Then the bathroom, we really didn't check it out much. At the moment, her son was living there and he was not very neat, so like his bathwater was still in there, which really annoyed me. It's like a pet peeve of mine. Then here is a spare bedroom, which I really loved, also with built-in closets. So that was great to me that we would be able to have friends over and family over and so on. It really had a lot of space for, you know, if we ever wanted to have anyone over, which is a bit of an issue for the place that we live in now. That I just wasted some time, like, you know, playing with the puppy and stuff, because he was so cute. It was like a little baby tiny pit bull puppy. So we both really had a good feeling about this place before we went to go and look at it and after. So we were really excited about it. We really thought that this was going to be our place. It sort of felt like this was the place that made the other place, that made us losing the other place make sense. It was really sad when we lost it, and that was a very discouraging point in the journey. Then we continued to look at quite a few places, but I only actually have one video left. We actually did find another house, because what happened then is that at that point when we lost that one, we only had 2 weeks left. So after that, Edwin's dad actually started to help contribute and to raise our budget, and we also started to look further away from campus so that we just have a wider area and a wider budget range to look at, just so that we could find something, just so that we can have a home somewhere. So we did actually end up finding a place in, I think it was Leonard Ridge, that was really close to Edwin's work. Or like, not really close, but it was close to his work. It was really far for me to drive, but we were just like, you know what, screw it. It's, you know, at this point we'll take anything. And then the owner was just basically, he was a bit of an unpleasant person. I try not to swear on this channel, but this whole moving thing makes it difficult. But yeah, basically he excluded everything from the rent price, so we had to pay extra for gardening and for garbage removal and sanitation, and we had to pay taxes, and you know, like, none of those things were included. So he advertised it for a price that was in our budget, our raised budget already, and then he just kept adding costs until it was out of it. We actually signed the contract for that thing, and then he kept adding so many costs that it was not going to work anymore. So that was the third house that we lost. We went to go and look at a bunch of other places. Yeah, then this was another one. This is the last video that I actually have, that Edwin went to go look at. So I wasn't with for this one, I was with for all the others. So it was so weird for me to only ever see the video. But it was also with the raised budget, so it was really beautiful, really big. It had a lot of space. The layout was just really weird. So this was the second bedroom. It was also a 2-bedroom. We suspect that it used to be offices because it really looks like it. But yeah, like, the room is just really elongated, which is strange. Same with this one. This is the main bedroom, but I loved how big it was. Also the fact that it had the glass doors and then the like the fences outside. So we would actually be able to sleep with the doors open for fresh air. But you can see here in the garden area, there is no grass, and they weren't willing for us to take anything out to put grass in because they didn't want to care for the grass after we left. So that was again an issue with the dogs, because I mean, we'd be able to manage that, but we would really love to have grass for them, obviously. Then also the strange thing was that, for one, those 2 sinks bother me, like that there are 2 sinks but they're like separate and stuff. And then also the bedroom closet was here in the bathroom, which was really strange and honestly annoyed me. Then just the kitchen had actually a lot of space, but there is actually no stove in there. And I saw that and pointed it out to Edwin after we looked, but we do actually have like a little 2-top stove, like gas stove, that I used in my previous apartment. So we would be able to use that. We were also going to use it in the house with the red cabinets. So we sort of considered this one. We actually went to go and look at this one before we went to go and look at the other 2-bedroom house that we signed the contract and then had to give up. So we considered it for like a day, and we were like, you know, we could probably make it work, you know, with the no grass and stuff. But then we found the other one, we were like, okay, great. And then when we lost that one, we were like, oh, maybe we should consider this one again. Maybe we should think about it. Maybe we should go and look at it again. And then, you know, it was, I think, an hour after Edwin suggested that we, you know, take this one, that we actually found the one that we ended up going with, that I will not be including in this video because it will be included in the moving vlogs. And I'll also be doing a fully furnished apartment tour soon as we finish unpacking all the boxes, because every time that we unpack the boxes, a new box shows up. So I don't even know where the hell we're getting all the boxes. So, but yeah, that was it for this apartment hunting video. It was so long, guys. This took so much time. It took so much stress. It was such a stressful thing. So I hope this could give you guys a bit of an idea of what it is like to flat hunt or apartment hunt in South Africa with dogs and a limited budget. I'm so glad that this is over, and I can't wait to show you guys the place that we ended up getting because it was really so amazing, and it was honestly one of the best places that we went to go and look at in hindsight. So can't wait for you guys to see it, especially once it is fully furnished. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I know this video is going to be late for both of those because it was Christmas yesterday, but still, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, even if I'm late, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!